Well, nothing beats rounding out the battles to get in the top 8 than the slowest matchup currently in the standard format, which is Bank Control against Naya. We've just watched a 20-minute game of pure boredom, and Boomer's now going to tell us about how they will be sideboarding.
I actually don't have much clue how they're going to sideboard in this match. I would imagine Chris may have some uncountable. He might have a few more smiters in his sideboard. He may have something like Rest in Peace potentially to stop any Snapcaster actions.
Nick's just going to be looking at what? More Wrath effects, if he could do that.
If he's got them, yeah, more Wrath effects, maybe more Faith Menders or something like that.
More Planeswalkers. Planeswalkers seems to be the way forward.
Yeah, this, for example, Centaur Healer, because obviously he didn't gain enough life in the first game, apparently.
Seems a pretty irrelevant card in this matchup.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the optimal card to be bringing in, really.
You're just looking at more value, aren't you, surely?
Yeah, that's what I mean, to be honest, he might not sideboard anything. His deck's just really well set up for this match, anyway. I suppose that Chris might have... he might have, like, some more burn or something like that in his board.
What he really needs is a shuffle effect.
What he really needs is Hell Riders and Geralf's Messengers, but he's not going to get that from this game.
I think he should be looking, at... upping his Planeswalker count and dealing with his opponent's detention spheres.
Yeah, more than likely. I mean, Garrett Relentless is going to be the way he gets through a lot of it, I think, here.
Certainly not going to punch through with creatures.
I mean, Smiter's a decent enough creature in this matchup. I think he wants to draw more Restoration Angels than he did last game, for sure.
Oh, he has them in his deck, does he?
Yeah, he does, apparently.
Did we see any? Yeah.
No. They probably all got milled into his graveyard, from what I was thinking here. Do have to take one issue. I don't think that Bant versus Nye is the slowest matchup. Obviously, that has to go to the Bant mirror. Goes for the slowest matchup in standard.
And here's the first of many Planeswalkers going away.
See, I'm not sure I would have just.
Cards.
I'm not sure I would have just dumped it to draw
cards.
Yeah,
it feels like
there.
You want to keep that guy on the board.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to spit out 3/3s for the rest of the game, I think. That point, it's like, unless your hand is utter garbage and you really need to draw cards.
I mean, if you brought nothing in to deal with the detention sphere, then I can understand it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but I would certainly be thinking about putting guys out. Value Pig, Thragtusk coming into play now. But, yeah, I would have, I think I probably would have kept the old Garruk around there, I think. I mean, maybe Chris is trying to compete with Nick Sphinx's Revelations in terms of card draw. Just figuring I'm going to out-threat you. But he's going to out-threat him anyway just by making a load of 3/3s with Garruk. And there's Selesnya Charm.
At the old +2/+2 or do
+2, yeah, +2/+2 and trample it gives it. So he stomps over the Thragtusk for 3 damage. There's one of his sideboard cards, I imagine. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. Prefer it on turn 2 rather than turn 202.
Yeah, Nick can still wrath at this point.
Yep, exactly. He's got Sphinx's Revelation in hand. In fact, it looks like his hand is 3 lands Sphinx's Revelation. So
he's just going to carry on playing out the land.
Yep. He might burn the Sphinx's Revelation here just to see if he can draw himself into a wrath. Drawing 2 cards is still fine here. Just chumps the beast. And yeah, Sphinx's Revelation for 2 there. Not quite as powerful as it would be normally. And he draws into Thragtusk, so we're going to be here for a little bit of time. Oh, look what you just did. But fortunately with his 7 mana, he's now going to cast the Terminus that he should have just miracled and played for 2.
And then played the Thragtusk afterwards.
Yep, so he's behind at this point, but I don't think it's going to matter in the long term, to tell you the truth.
Again, these are just the kind of mistakes people make when they're in round 8 and feeling a little bit of peer pressure, trying to get into top 8.
Yeah, Nick definitely was, he was pretty chatty at the table, I have to say, would be the description.
So maybe you could say unprofessional.
Oh, I don't know if you'd ever use the word professional to describe many UK Magic players, to tell you the truth. But I think that maybe just not quite concentrating as much as he should have been at that point. Also, the fact was the Terminus was upside down as well. That it was a sideboard card. The way that I think we saw it going into his hand. Well, I think that Nick's going to lay his own Thragtusk here. There we go.
One that he should have laid a couple of turns ago.
Yeah, yeah. And we just end up with the staring contest here. My guess is that the Thragtusk are just going to ram
Chris
in.
has to attack because he needs to win 2 games.
See, it's one of those things there. They're always going to trade. Wouldn't it maybe be a little bit better for Chris to try and wait for a Restoration Angel there? I was just thinking, since he gets more value out of his Thragtusks than Nick does, more than likely. I think maybe he's being a little bit exuberant there, just smashing the Thragtusk into each other. Think twice there from Nick. He's just going back to the old game of just sitting and drawing cards. That's Nick's own Cavern of Souls there. So. Just seems like every deck nowadays that can even slightly support it just runs one. Thinking twice again. Making sure to do think twice in his main phase there, just so that he... Oh, there's Sphinx's Revelation. Making sure to do think twice in his main phase there, so that the Huntmaster doesn't flip. Think twice actually one of the best cards to stop Huntmaster flipping because of the fact that it's 2 spells. And again, Chris just thinking my opponent's on 500 billion life with a lot of cards in hand. Yep,
And Nick will always take the trade when it's offered.
Pretty much always, yeah. I mean, it's not like Chris can even Restoration Angel the Beast anyway, so... Chris does have his Drown Yard out, but at the moment I don't see a source of black in play for him to activate it.
But he's in no great rush at the moment.
Nope, and we're just seeing the Huntmaster flipping game continuing here. I mean, he shot the Augur, so Nick can't block this turn. Well, he can, but he'll lose his Augur if he blocks the Wolf, so... He might just settle back here. Not really sure why that happened, to tell you the truth. I think that both players just missing a couple of things happening there.
The Charms maybe cards that should have come out of Chris's deck.
I mean, if he's got nothing better to put in, they're going to have to say. I mean, he's probably got Searing Spears in his deck that he's more than likely taken out. Selesnya Charm probably does a bit more than that because it's at worst it's an instant speed creature, creates a 2/2 knight. So he might just have it for that thing. And here's the first Sphinx's Revelation. When the first one's for 7, you know it's bad news. It's just the 1 brings 2 brings 3 brings ever. It's pretty bad news for Chris overall here.
So, grip full of cards again.
I mean, obviously there's no incentive here for Chris to scoop because that's the end of the game, so he's just got to hope that Nick's drawn into absolute rubbish there. But this is the main problem with a mid-range deck like Naya. It's like when you come up against a deck that's just going to overpower you with card advantage. He doesn't have the speed to be able to really punch through, and he doesn't have the late game to be able to compete with Sphinx's Revelation. So he's got such a tiny window of opportunity.
Yeah, and this is all going back to the Planeswalker that he just decided to throw away in the early game.
I mean, he's got more cards in his grip now, but those cards aren't helping him.
I mean, you know, the Planeswalker is one of the few cards that's actually quite hard for Nick to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, he's only got Detention Sphere. He might have Oblivion Ring if he's got that in his sideboard.
But it seems that keeping that card around is going to do a lot more to help him out in the matchup than just drawing a bunch of creatures and playing them out one after the next.
And getting them wrathed away, yeah, sure. He doesn't. I'm trying to remember what the all the forms on Selesnya Charm are. I know there's a it's Vigilance Knight, a +2/+2 and trample, and exile target creature with power 5 or less, 5 or more. So it does kill Thragtusk as well. So it does have at least some. Sphinx's Revelation again. I mean,
Quite
that's
a small one, that actually.
Yeah. Rock's Faith Mender going into his hand there.
Just for 3. Maybe he could have not been so greedy and waited a turn and then done it for.
I mean, possibly. He's
11 or something next turn.
He's not under any threat, is he? And as you can see, the mana tapping is beginning to get a little bit.
But the only way you can lose this game is by just drawing lands. So
yeah, it's like the mana tapping is beginning to get a little bit messy in the board status as well here. But he's just not under any threat here. He's just gained 10 from a Thragtusk.
Again, it's another reason not to play decks like this if you're a messy player.
Yeah. But I think that, I mean, Nick's actually, the way he's plays deck, or built his deck with the main deck Rock's Faith Mender, I think that's a really nice addition for this field. Just because it just gives him a bit more of an edge in the matchup against the aggro decks. He already crushes the mid-range decks.
Everyone always loves the decks with the random one-offs in, don't they?
Well, it's become a lot more prevalent in Standard, to tell you the truth, to have the old random one-offs all over the place. But don't forget the length of time that we've been playing the game. It's like it used to be, your decks used to have to be all 4 and 1s, and now it's a case there's 2s and 3s absolutely everywhere. And again, Chris is just getting rid of his Garruk there. Just trying to draw some more cards to bring him back into the game. I can kind of understand it now the first Sphinx's Revelation's gone off. Because he probably figures Nick...
What are you going to draw that's better than a Garruk?
More gas for when Nick wraths again. Yeah, so that's about... I think that's probably where we're at the moment. I mean, there's a 1/5 sitting across the board that he just can't beat through.
Well, he can if he makes enough wolves.
This might be signifying a wrath. What do you think? Nick appears to be attacking with his 3 creatures. I believe this is signifying Supreme Verdict is about to happen.
Well, you definitely want to block and kill the Thragtusk, else he's going to end up with a beast after a wrath.
Oh, he's... nice work there. He's putting his Faith Mender back on top of his library with...
Oh, sorry, no, I was blocking this.
Oh no, Chris actually blocked the he actually blocked the Centaur healer there. So Nick is, I'm not too sure I like that block in particular, because it's Nick is signifying that he's going to wrath, so you might as well not leave him with a beast token in play. I mean, when Nick turns his creatures sideways there, it's not because he intends to race you, even though he is on 40 life. Guess what I drew? And Nick's just piling through his deck with Farseek now. You notice how the speed of play's quickened up now. Nick's a lot more confident of his win at this point.
Well, he's a game up.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
wants to get both games in.
Yep. I mean, there's very little Chris can do at this point. Nick has dominating board position, a million life, and
better spells in his deck.
pretty much, yeah. And Chris still hasn't cast a Sphinx's Revelation yet. Sorry, not a Sphinx's Revelation, a Restoration Angel yet. He definitely hasn't cast a Sphinx's Revelation yet. Rock's Faith Mender kicking in for a little bit of extra life there. Because sometimes 40 life is just not enough. Oh, he takes damage from his Overgrown Tomb there, just so that he can put the...
So he can do a Sphinx's Revelation for 12 here and gain 24 life.
yeah. And Chris Humphries is now making Restoration Angels at the end of turn. Not too sure that 6 at a time is going to be good enough here. And Chris has his own centaur healers at this point to gain himself some life. Again, 3-3 for 3 isn't really that
There's
spectacular.
a lot
at
of
this
really
point.
bad cards in the matchup for Chris there.
Yeah, he's unless he's got a 15-card sideboard for this matchup, I'm not too sure that there's a lot of his deck that's going to be doing too much power. Yeah, and Nick's just on the mill plan now. He's got both of his drown yards operational. Another restoration angel from Chris. He's going to
saving them all specially for when he didn't have anything to actually blink.
Well, he's got the centaur healer to blink. He gains a bit more life.
Very useful when his opponent's milling him out.
Yeah, well. Attack for 12.
Jump to the 3-3. How about no?
Yeah, Celestia Charm again. Even when you attack for 11 and your opponent's still on 25 after you attack, it's just not good news for you, really.
Really want to see that Sphinx's revelation from Nick, just for the lols, as they say on the internet.
Not cool enough to be part of the internet community. Another
Plays
land.
Another land.
Gains another 2 life from his Faith Mender.
Beats for 1, might be a wrath.
Probably not, he just doesn't feel like blocking, I think, at this point. Attack for 11, still doesn't do much.
You need a pretty big forearm to actually be able to grab all your land there and turn it sideways.
Yeah, that'd be a full arm's worth of tapping, I think, at that point.
You'd actually be tapping that land and into your opponent's play area there to turn it sideways. Full 90 degrees.
Yep. And there's a Hunt Master from Chris. I mean, he is overextending into Wrath of God, but he's got absolutely no choice at this point. Mill for another 6 from Nick. Oh, boo, it's only for... I think that's only for 6, gaining 12 there.
Probably would have decked him doing another 6. But
Yeah, he's not got the largest. He's not got the largest of decks yet. And I was about to say that the Ogre put his elixir on the bottom, but I'm pretty sure he's shuffled his library with Farseek since then. So, I mean, Elixir of Immortality gains him 10 as well at this point. So, oh, there's Supreme Verdict. Doesn't even bother to gain 2 with his Faith Mender at that point. It's just.
We're into the phase of not caring.
Yeah, we're into this match is very, very locked up. I honestly don't care now. This is such a poor matchup for Naya. I mean, the one thing that Naya decks did have, at least the Naya human decks, was Zealous Conscripts in the board. But Zealous Conscripts is awful against bank control because it just doesn't still anything, have a land.
Yeah, Chris groups. The only thing you can do is, of course, pinch a Planeswalker as it's about to ultimate and ultimate it yourself.
That's about it, unfortunately, with Zealous Conscripts, but Chris never got the opportunity.
And would you believe it, but every other game had finished, and in fact the entire tournament were waiting for these two guys to finish.
So we're going to move on now, and we will see you guys in the top 8.